All right, so we have page 10. All right, so we have page 10, and the title of page 10 is Graphing Vertical Lines and Horizontal Lines. Graphing, vertical, and that's the and symbol, horizontal lines. Okay, pause real quickly. Your vertical lines are equations that look like this. X is equal to a number. I'm going to go split my page in half. And my horizontal, lines are equations that have just y is equal to a number. Not mx plus b, but just y is equal to a single number. Okay? And yes, it can be 2-digit, 3-digit number, but it does not have a slope. That's what makes it a horizontal line. Pause for the calls real quickly. So if I'm graphing, I'm going to graph my first example. It's going to be x is equal to 5. This is a vertical line. To graph that, I'm going to draw coordinate plane out to the side. And since it's x is equal to 5, I'm going to find 5 on the x-axis. 5 on the x-axis is here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, positive 5. So when I find 5 on the x-axis, I draw a line through 5 on the x-axis, and this is the line for this equation. This is x is equal to 5. The line goes through 5 on the x-axis. So when x is equal to 5, the line goes through 5 on the x-axis. This makes it a vertical line. Questions about that so far? Okay, so our next one, we have x is equal to a negative 2. So that means we find negative 2 on the x-axis this time. So this is 0. We go to the left. This is negative 1. This is negative 2. So we draw a line through negative 2 on the x-axis. So we go through the x-axis at negative 2. So the name of this line is x is equal to negative 2. Okay? I'm going to make this, extend this out just a little bit more, y'all. All right, let's try this one, number 3. See if you can do this before me. See if you can find or draw the horizontal line for x is equal to negative 5. Okay, so x is equal to negative 5. You're going to find negative 5 on the x-axis. This is 0, 1. This is negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. And I'm going to draw a line through negative 5 on the x-axis. So the equation for this line is x is equal to a negative 5. Any questions about that? Now we're doing horizontal lines. Okay, horizontal lines. So now horizontal lines is where you have y is equal to a single number, where there's no slope at all. So these lines are flat lines. These have 0 slope. These vertical lines have undefined slope, as you can see. But these horizontal lines have 0 slope. There's no slope at all. 0 slope or no slope. Okay? All right, so we're going to graph the following horizontal lines. The first one we're going to graph is y is equal to 7. And this is how this works. Notice there's no x here. There's no slope. This is a horizontal line because you don't see an x term. So we draw a coordinate plane. Okay. And we find 7 on the y-axis. Positive 7 is, this is 0. We go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're going to draw a line through positive 7 on the y-axis. The equation for this line is y is equal to 7. It goes through 7 on the y-axis. It goes through positive 7 on the y-axis. This is y is equal to 7. It has 0 or no slope. Questions about that? The second one is going to be y is equal to a negative 4. So now we're going to find negative 4 on the y-axis. So this is 0. We go down 1, 2, 3, 4. This is negative 4 on the y-axis, and we draw a line through negative 4 on the y-axis. Extend your line and put arrows at the end. The equation for this line is y is equal to negative 4 because it goes through negative 4 on the y-axis. This line has 0 slope or no slope. That means m is equal to 0. You don't see an x term here, so there's no slope here. There's no slope here. Questions about that? See if you can do this one on your own before I write it up. You got y is equal to a positive 3, and I'm going to pause. All right, so now you can open up your independent practice problems that's on the Canvas page, and I'm going to go through that with you, and then the rest you can do on your own. Some of you might already know how to do it. Okay. All right, let's look at this. This is your independent practice. If I need to pause or go back for a second, please raise your hand and let me know or unmute yourself. This is the independent practice problems for today, day 2. All right, so here, the first step, the first thing that we need to do, remember I'm getting these steps from page 9 notes, where we're graphing equations, is to make sure it's written in y equals mx plus b form. And it is. It's in y equals mx plus b, slope-intercept form. Okay, where your m is your slope, and your b, or the number that has no variable attached to it, is your y-intercept, where the line crosses the y-axis. Remember that your m has to be written as a fraction because you need a rise over run. Your rise is your up and down, and your run is your left to right. If the rise is a positive number, go up. If the rise is a negative number, go down. If your run is a positive number, go to the right. If your run is a negative number, then you go to the left. And let me pause there because I have a question. So here, we're going to label our m and our b. Our m here is 2. We need it written as a fraction. So to write 2 as a fraction, put a 1 under it. So now we have rise over run. Our b is this number that has no variable attached to it. It's a minus in front of it. So b is going to be a negative 3. Any questions about how I labeled m or b? Okay. Now, we're going to find b on the y-axis. This is where we start. Negative 3 on the y-axis is down 1, 2, 3. It's here. So this is where we start. So now we're going to take our rise over our run. Our rise is positive 2, so go up 2. Our run is positive 1, so go to the right 1. So it's up 2 and to the right 1. Up from here, 1, 2, and to the right 1. Put your point there. Up, 1, 2, and to the right 1. Put your point there. Up, 1, 2, to the right 1, put your point there. Up, 1, 2, and to the right 1, put your point there. If you want points in the opposite direction, instead of going up 2, go down 2. Instead of going to the right 1, go to the left 1. So essentially, this is what that looks like, guys. -2, -1, because they are equal. A negative divided by a negative is going to give me this positive here. These are the same. So I'm going down 1, 2, left 1. Extend my line. Make sure that you put arrows at the end. Questions about that? Anybody know? I'm going to find 3 on the y-axis because this is y. So 3 on the y-axis wheel is here. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to draw a line through the y-axis at 3 because it's y is equal to 3. Questions about that? Okay. All right. So here, I'm going to label my m and my b. So my m is -3. I need to write that integer as a fraction by putting a 1 under it. So now I have rise over run. Okay. My b, look at this, is a +2. So that's +2. So now I find +2 on the y-axis. This is 0, and so I go up 1, 2. This is where I start. My line crosses the y-axis. This is my y-intercept at 2. Okay? So now I use my rise over run to graph other points. Okay? This is a negative slope, so my line is going to go down. So since it's rise is a -3, go down 3, run is a +1, to the right 1. So that's down 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. Down 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. If I want points in the opposite direction, okay, slope is this. If I want points in the opposite direction, I do this. Okay, this is the same thing. A negative divided by a positive still gonna give me a -3. A +3 divided by a -1 is still gonna give me a -3. So if I want points in the opposite direction, instead of going down 3, I go up 3. 1, 2, 3. Instead of going to the right 1, I go to the left 1. And I extend my line. Make sure that I put arrows at the end of my line. Any questions about that?